Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for May of 2020. We've got Venus, Mercury, and Mars activity for you this month, as well as new and full moons. Starting off with Julia talking about Mercury, I believe. Right, Julia?
Yeah, Jamie. So, Scorpio, on May 11th, Mercury, the planet of communication and the planet of thought, is going to be entering your eighth house. And you know the eighth house pretty well, Scorpio, because it's your house. It can be kind of an intense place and a very deeply intimate place, too. Also, the alchemical cauldron of change. So, when Mercury enters this house, your mind is going to be on a lot more sort of probing, kind of deeper matters. If you have any type of research or investigation that you need done, then this is going to be an excellent transit for it. Then on May 12th, Venus, the planet of relationship, goes retrograde in your eighth house. And Venus, or any planet that goes retrograde, really calls us to review the topics that that planet represents. So if you're in a relationship, you might be reviewing your shared resources with your partner, which could be anything from like if you own a house together or have a shared credit card together, or anybody else sort of close to you in that capacity. And if you're single, because it's also the house of intimacy, you might be reviewing what your intimacy needs are for your next relationship. Then on May 12th, Mars is going to enter your fifth house of fun, amusements, and activities and games. So wherever we have Mars is where we really apply a lot of our drive and our energy. So in the house of amusement and games, you could be just kind of extra stimulated to kind of seek out a little bit of fun. If we're having to stay at home this month, then maybe you're playing some online games with people. Mars can also be a little bit on the competitive side, so watch out for that. And the fifth house is also the house of children. So if you do have children, there might be a few more arguments than usual this month. And then on May 28th, Mercury enters Cancer, which is your ninth house. So Mercury, again, the planet of communication, where we put our thought, is going to be, really wanting to expand itself a lot more when it enters the ninth, because the ninth house is the house of the higher mind and all the things which expand us. So you could be a little bit more interested in thinking about metaphysical, philosophical things, or, trying to open up your mind by learning a new language, for example.
Do you know, I was thinking, Julie, as you were talking about that Mars in the fifth house, it probably would make a lot of sense to be especially cautious this month about online gambling. Because I would think there would be some risk of being impulsive about that.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, I would watch out for that for sure. Now we've got a couple of moons. The first one is on May 7th. And that one falls in, let me just bring this a little earlier. There we go. The Sun and Mercury fall together in your seventh house of partnership, opposite that really intense Scorpio full moon in your first house. Now, this definitely puts you smack into situations where you may get into arguments with somebody, most likely a partner, somebody that you see all the time. And that might put you into the position of being the emotional one in that argument, and the other person into the position of being the rational one. Now, that's not necessarily the truth, but I do want to tell you that your emotions may be really amped up during this full moon in Scorpio. And that is especially true if this happens to be your half birthday. If your sun is in Scorpio, and this full moon on the 7th is essentially your half birthday, then this is going to be a really emotional full moon for you. And I would, there's a truism in astrology and in life, which is if you balance yourself inside, then other people don't have to balance you on the outside. So if you can find ways to soothe and calm yourself and come back to your place of the rational, then I think the arguments will probably, simmer down. The other moon I want to tell you about is coming up on May 22nd. And that one is a new moon in Gemini in your eighth house, as Julia said, a place that you may feel is quite familiar, the alchemical cauldron of change. And there in the middle of the month is a very, very full arena, so that this month there are lots of reasons to engage intimately with others, because all of these planets are basically pulling you towards that. this new moon in particular, and let me just move this chart on by, there we go, there you can see it. This new moon in particular is very much about how words are the seeds that when you plant them, they can grow into communities. So this is about the intersection between communication and community. So it's really a nice full moon. It's a sweet, frothy, light, uplifting, new moon. And it has a lot of sort of bubbling, fresh, um, playful energy to it. And falling in your house of intimacy, this could be the time for having some intimate conversations and having them go in a way that's lighter and maybe more rational than they might go otherwise. So this could be actually a really good time for, talking with friends of yours about what's really going on with you and how it really feels. And you might find that those conversations go really well and deepen the connections, which is what you're all about, right, Scorpio? So if you were thinking about getting a reading from a professional this month, I think that probably the best one to think about would be a relationship reading of some kind, either a couples reading, so that you can look into your connections with your partner there in the room, together, looking at the relationship and figuring out how to make it better. And, or, if you're single, then a lifelong love reading, which is really a great way to just figure out what do you need in a relationship and what does Mr. or Ms. Right actually look like so that you can engage the search more powerfully. And yeah, we have to shelter in place right now. Yeah, we have to stay at home right now, but the internet is open for business and there are a lot of people that you could meet there. All right, so we had a lot of fun making this for you, Scorpio. Hope you enjoyed it. You'll find other horoscopes, and if this is your sun sign, definitely look up your rising sign or vice versa. You can find us on the internet, pandoraastrology.com, or on YouTube at Pandora Astrology. And we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.